this. Listen, hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? I told y'all we're gonna do a little discussion. Yeah, it's live.
Ain't nobody on here yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting. Can you back up and get off my thing? Can you get off my thing? We're trying to talk about COVID.
Hey, bye.
Laura, do you got any questions about COVID? Can you tell the people? Listen, I'm doing a live with Robert. Let's see if he comes in. Oh, here he is. Robert, send a rest. Okay, some of you request. Go live with Robert. Send request. Y'all, but I'm going to get him in here. Hey, y'all, come on in. We're going to talk about it, okay? Let's see if I can get him in. I'm waiting on him. Waiting on Robert. It's connected.
What's up, Doc?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing, Robert? How are you, doctor?
Oh, I'll be totally honest with you. I'd be lying if I said I'm doing okay. What I have seen, what I'm dealing with right now at my urgent care center is beyond anything that I thought I was going to see. I was hoping it didn't get to this point.
Wow.
The numbers here are so bad.
Before we get started, let me announce who you are. You know what I mean? And I know for the people that don't know, I know you're famous and all. But
no, I'm not.
That don't know, because I'm on live on my page. Are you live on your page as well?
No. They'll see me on there. They'll see me and click on it. So.
Okay, so this is Dr. Robert Drummond. If y'all don't remember him, Married to Medicine LA, he's Shanique's the messy girl. Her husband, my friend, the messy girl. We both messy. But her husband, he's actually an urgent care physician. He has his MD and his PhD from
Johns Hopkins.
You know what? Let you introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. Really quickly. Yeah. Dr. Drummond. I went to Morehouse College undergrad. I went to Johns Hopkins, got my MD, my PhD. My PhD is in cellular and molecular medicine. And I specifically focused on sepsis and septic shock and understanding how certain proteins modulate the immune system during sepsis. So everything that we see going on right now that's happening during COVID is really a lot of what I studied during my PhD.
Oh, wow. So for the people, I'm going to get straight to it. For the people that don't want to take this vaccine, can you help me with that? Because a lot of people are saying it came too quickly. You know, a lot of people looking at the past with the other vaccines that have harmed our people. You know what I mean? And they got so many questions for you. COVID is killing. It's at a top rate right now. And what do you say to the people that don't trust the media? We don't trust the people. We don't trust the government. They may be lying about the numbers. You know, we got a lot of people that don't even think Trump had COVID. So what do you say to people? Should we take the vaccine?
So first, yes, we need to take the vaccine. But I want to give you all the reasons why. You know, I understand everyone's trepidation. I understand it from the perspective of looking at it in regards to Trump and the media. You know, Trump likes to cut corners. Luckily, he wasn't in charge of this. All right. This was created by scientists, designed by scientists. And that's going to be important as we talk about it later. The media has its own goals also. Right. So Fox, CNN, MSNBC, they're all slanted. All right. They're either biased towards, you know, left leaning or biased towards right leaning. But from my perspective, from the beginning of the pandemic, I've just tried to give people the information straight without any kind of political slant, because I think that starts to lead to the doubts that we're starting to see. One side doesn't trust the other side. If I follow Democrats, I don't trust Republicans. If I follow Republicans, I don't trust anything that comes out of a Democrat. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess during a pandemic. So I understand everyone's trepidation from that point. From the perspective of historical things that have happened with science, let's be frank. Let's just get it out on the table. A lot of bad things have happened. Okay, we can go back to Henrietta Lacks and what happened with her in regards to stealing her cells and using her cells. Something we call them HeLa cells in research. Every single scientist in the world has used HeLa cells, and this all came from someone that wasn't given appropriate informed consent in regards to using her cells in medical research. Obviously, we know about the 40 years worth of experiments that happened during the Tuskegee experiments. I think that lasted from the 30s to the 70s, where African Americans were basically just injected with, or they were allowed to, not injected with, they were allowed to allow the syphilis disease to just take its course, and so that we could watch all of the different stages of syphilis. And that came about as a huge black eye. So I understand there's other situations that have happened. There's a lot of trepidation that's there, right? Now let's get to this. Let's get to what's actually happening with COVID, because I've gotten so many questions about this. I've got questions about what is the virus, and I don't think we have enough time to go into explaining every aspect of every question. But simplest answer
How can
is,
they come up with a virus vaccine so quickly when it's taking years and years for the other one? Y'all still don't have I just saw on Funky Dynamics page, you don't have a vaccine for HIV. That's a virus, right?
absolutely.
How you get this one so quick? And black people have been dying from HIV, all of our people. Why do we have this virus really, really quickly? If you can get it that quickly, you should save any life, all lives. So all viruses should be cured or have a vaccine for very, very quickly. How can this one be so quick and be effective?
That's a great question. So let's start back in terms of what makes it difficult for any vaccine, right? So if we think about the major things that we have, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV. We have a vaccine for Hep A. We have a vaccine for Hep B. We don't have one for Hep C. We don't have one for HIV. So the question becomes why? The answer to that is some viruses, they mutate to the point where making a vaccine is near impossible. We will never.
I know COVID has mutated. Okay, I know smallpox is the only virus that's been eradicated. Smallpox. All these viruses mutate. The common flu.
Yes. So, and that's why we have a new version of the flu vaccine every single year. On the top, outside of the influenza virus, there's two things. We call them H and N, right? Hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. Well, they have 16 different versions of hemagglutinin, and I can't remember, maybe 23 versions of neuraminidase. So you can have H1, N3, H4, N17, etc. And that's what happens. So what you're getting every single year, you're getting a different versions of the influenza virus that can basically mutate and have, different things on the outside. It doesn't need those things on the outside to enter the cell. So it's perfectly fine mutating, and it's still going to be able to infect us. So every year, we basically take the current version of the major versions of influenza virus that's happening in, let's say, Australia, because they're 6 months ahead of us, and we take that and we create the vaccine. And then by the time it gets here to America, we pray every year that that vaccine is effective. And as I mentioned to you on your page the other day, some years it's as effective as 60%. Some years it's ineffective as 30%. And that has everything to do with how much the influenza virus has mutated from the time that we created the vaccine to the time that we give it. So that's the flu virus. If HIV mutates, it tests a point of mutation in its entire genome, every single mutation cycle. It is virtually impossible to create an HIV vaccine the traditional ways. There are other ways that we're trying to do it because there's some areas. But
it's not that important because certain people are not dying from it.
I don't think that. No,
that's my thought. Because if you can come up with a vaccine cure this quickly for COVID, you could have come up with something for HIV after all these years. Because I remember my cousin had HIV in 1986. Mm-hmm. It's been a long ass time, and y'all don't have nothing. But y'all had 2 months, and y'all got this thing together. I'm talking about y'all.
Let me talk about that. Let me talk about that. Okay, so again, with HIV, there are ways that they can come up with something, and they're working on it. They're trying. When we think about a virus and how it enters the cell,
they've been trying for 30 years.
I agree. If there's a way that we can come up with something to attach to an area that the virus doesn't mutate. So there are some small areas of the HIV virus that does not mutate. Let me give you a different perspective on that. There is actually 0.1% of the entire Caucasian population is immune to HIV. They'll never get it. And the reason is they have mutations in their CXCR5 and CCR4 receptors. These are two co-receptors that the virus needs to get in. So because they have those mutations, they will never get HIV. You can dump HIV into their bloodstream. You can give it to them through sex, any kind of way. The virus will enter. It'll never enter their cells.
So nobody black is immune to HIV. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that the population is way, way less than 0.1%. So there's a lot of theories behind why this is. And I'm not going to get into the theories.
I'm going to tell you why. Because certain people ain't dying from it.
I will totally understand.
But I digress. We have COVID.
It's okay. No. But it's important to understand, to put these different vaccines and these different viruses into perspective so that we can understand, why certain viruses have had vaccines and certain ones. And even if we talk about hepatitis, Hep A, Hep B, Hep C, we don't have a hepatitis C vaccine, but we have one for Hep A and Hep B. And that has everything to do with the way the virus mutates and our ability to create something that's going to neutralize it in the face of whether it's mutating a lot.
Okay, I got a good question for you. I'm gonna give you a real good question, okay?
Yeah.
So many people have died. I think they say over 1 million people have died now, right? How many
1.47. 1.47. 1.47 million
people. More than 1 million people have died, right? Why didn't they try the same stuff that they gave Trump when he was in the thing? It wasn't approved yet, but these people dying any old damn way. So why didn't they try that? Is it expensive, or they just want to work their life on shit? And then why didn't y'all give it to Herman Cain when he first got sick? I'm just asking because it's y'all.
It's a great question. So first, it's not us. I may be a part of the medical scientist community, but it's not us. Don't be having your audience be like, Dr. Drummond's holding it back. That's a good question. So the combination that Trump got, nobody else in the world can get, and this is why. They gave it to him because he's the leader of the free world, and it's messed up. But as the leader of the free world, you're going to be privy to things that certain people can't.
So just let us die. You got to kill him, but let us die.
I understand. When you're in a trial, they have to control those things. So in the remdesivir trial, if you're in remdesivir,
people you should test it on if they about to die. Don't they listen, I get you, Doc, and you make a lot of sense, and you got a lot of different words out there, but I always say simplicity is the answer. Always. Yeah. All that shit, N1, H1, ribonucleic acid, all of that is easy. If you got a chore and I'm about to die, give me some. I take it. I sign a waiver if I die, because I was going to die anyway. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just saying. I don't think I'm going to take the virus vaccine, Boopy. Okay. And I might sound silly to you, but I'm going to wait for all y'all to take it first, okay? And see how y'all doing about 5 years. If y'all okay, I'm going to go and take it then. Okay. So first, what Trump got wasn't a cure. It was just a treatment. All right. It was a neutralizing antibody, right? Which is what this vaccine is going to give you. All right. A vaccine is going to give us neutralizing antibodies to prevent the virus from entering our cells. So what Trump got was a Regeneron therapy, which is a dual monoclonal antibody that's designed to do that exact same thing, but it's still in trials. So there are people that are getting that. There are people that are getting Regeneron, but if they're getting Regeneron, they can't be on steroids and they can't be on remdesivir, because they want to see exactly how Regeneron works without those additional medicines altering it. And so the people that are getting Regeneron are getting that, but they can't get anything else. People in the hospital can get steroids and can get remdesivir, but they can't get Regeneron because they're not a part of the trial. And if they're getting steroids and remdesivir, then they can't be on Regeneron. But Trump got all three. So for him to come out and say, oh, this virus isn't that bad, when he literally got the best treatment in the world that no other person will ever get until they release Regeneron as an actual treatment, it's unfair for him to do that. But okay, if he got it, and you tell me the mind process, thought process, if he got those medications and they can't be available, why the hell did he even freaking tell us? Because it looked like to me, my auntie died. I know so many people that died. It makes me feel horrible that y'all have something that possibly could have saved their lives, and this brother Tucker got it, and nobody else can get it. If he got it and he lived, he should have just shut the hell up and said, hey, you know what? I got through COVID. If he indeed had it, because a lot of people still think that he ain't never had this shit. So, well, as a military physician, I know folks that are over at Walter Reed, and I can tell you that without diverging anything, he definitely had it. But what I'll say is that I hear what you're saying. It's not right, but nothing that Trump does is right, and it just clouds everything else. It puts a cloud of doubt over every single aspect of everything that he touches. And so that's the sad part of when you have a Trump that is a president that's a habitual liar. It clouds everything. No one can believe anything that he says, and no one can get behind it. But let's get to the vaccine. All right? You ready to get to the vaccine? We can get to the vaccine, I'm telling you, but it don't matter. But go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. Explain to me why I should get the vaccine. Help me. So, well, let's start off by you, because you've asked a bunch of questions. You ain't let me get to the answers. You asked a bunch of questions. Just tell me why I should take the vaccine, because all the other stuff I ain't going to understand no way, and neither are my followers. Just tell me why I should take this vaccine after you. First, I'm going to take the vaccine. I'm going to take it. I'm going to show it. I'm going to do it on Instagram Live, actually. Good. Even though I've had COVID. This is going to be the future of all vaccines. I know it's scary because it's happening. It's happening in real time. It's happening during a pandemic. This is going to be the future of vaccines. It is the safest method to give a vaccine. We have, you know how many people have egg allergies? How many people have allergies to influenza? So the reason they have allergies to influenza is because we have to take that virus and we have to grow it in chicken eggs. And then we have to mass produce those chicken eggs, right? So that takes a long time. That's how we traditionally do all of these viruses. This technology has actually been in the minds of some scientists for years. And they've wanted to do it, even back to the first coronavirus.
some of these things, not the first coronavirus, but we call it coronavirus 5, which is the one that caused SARS back in 2002. So some of these things, these concepts have been around for a long time. And this was a company that has literally put their entire future on the line and said, we're ready to bring this technology to the forefront. We have this delivery mechanism that we can use where we can take a strip. We don't have to give you the whole virus. If you get sick with coronavirus, you're going to get every part of that virus. And as I mentioned, that virus is going to invade your cells. It's going to use all of your machinery to create more versions of itself. Then it's going to explode your cells and it release millions of copies. And then those millions of copies are going to go infect millions of other cells. And then they go in and do the same thing. That's what a viral infection does. This vaccine has basically found a way to take a small portion of the viral genome, just a small portion, not the whole backbone, not the whole strip, small strip that just controls for the protein that is used to bind to what we call ACE2. So the virus on the top of the virus has a protein called spike protein. You hear everybody talking about spike protein. It needs that spike protein because that's how it enters our cells. If that virus mutates that spike protein, it's done. It can't enter our cells. It has to. That's like a lock. If our cells are a key or are a lock, that spike protein is the key. It comes down, unlocks it, and enters our cells. So that spike protein is not going anywhere, and it's unlikely to mutate to any significant extent because if it does, it'll no longer be able to bind to our cells. So they took a small strip of this virus, just a small strip, and they basically said, we're going to take that small strip and we're going to put it inside of a delivery mechanism, the same type of similar delivery mechanism that we use for other vaccines, and we're going to inject that into your body. So your body's going to see that. It's going to go into your bloodstream. My body, yes, not your body, my body, or hopefully your body. It's going to go into, and then your body's going to see that mRNA strip, and it's going to say, hey, I see you. I'm going to go ahead and create this little protein. Let's see what you're talking about. And it creates the protein, and it's like, nah, bro, that's not one of my proteins. That's not a protein that my body created. So then the body's going to start creating antibodies towards it. It's going to release those antibodies into the bloodstream, and now those antibodies are just going to be floating around in your body. So anytime you come in contact with the virus, as soon as that virus gets into your bloodstreams, you're going to have that antibody that's around directed to that spike protein, and they're literally going to swarm on top of the virus. And if that virus tries to get into your cells, it won't be able to. Then it's going to get destroyed by a couple of different mechanisms. So the point I'm trying, so that's the way the virus works. People are worried about the fact that it's new and it's different. I think this is going to be the future. It's safer. And the reason it happens so quickly is because they don't need millions and millions of chicken eggs to serve as a reservoir to try to grow a virus. There's other versions of vaccines that are doing this. There was another version, I think the AstraZeneca vaccine was an adenovirus. And you're basically saying you're putting a virus on top of a virus. That's exactly what the AstraZeneca vaccine is. I think everybody would be losing their minds right now if they were like, wait a second, you gonna give me a virus to give me another virus to keep me from getting the virus? That don't make sense, right? It makes sense to us scientists, but people would probably have been like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm not taking that. So this is taking all of that away. This is a different line of thinking that I think they honestly thought people will be more acceptable of, because they'll say, hey, so you're not giving me the virus. No, you're not giving me a heat-killed version of the virus. No, you're not giving me a live, attenuated version of the virus. No, you're not giving me a virus on top of a virus. No, you're not doing any of that. You're just giving me a strip of RNA that encodes for just one part of the virus, which means I'll never get infected with the virus. Yes, that's what I'm giving you. I'm giving you that, and then your body's going to turn into its own vaccine-making company. And it's just, again, to me,
you sound very confident in this process. Is somebody paying you? Because the people say the people paying you to put this out here now, baby. Now, what is this going on? Because I ain't get paid nothing. I know that.
I ain't get paid not a damn thing for this. Let me tell you why I'm doing this. Because what I'm seeing is this. 64 million people have gotten this. 1.5 million people have died. That's 1.5. So that's basically like saying 1.5 for every 63 people are dying. That's just the deaths, right? We're talking about a death rate from that. That's just the pure numbers. You can look at the numbers, right? There may be some give or take with those, but that's just the numbers. 65 million people got the virus. 1.5 million deaths. So 1 in every 65 people dying, which is crazy. So that's just the deaths, though. We're not talking about everything else that's going to happen if you decide, you know what, I don't want this vaccine. I just want to go ahead and try to get COVID and ride it out and see what happens.
What are the side effects of the vaccine? The people are asking, are there side effects? Because I saw on the thing that one person died. They got really good results according to their data. They said only one person died. A couple of people got sick, but pretty much everybody was okay.
No. Back up. That person that died was in the control arm. They got a placebo. Okay. So what they did for this, they've got 2 arms. They've got an arm of people that are, and they don't know. This is what's called a quadruple blinded study. Everybody in this study is ignorant of what they're getting. The person doesn't know it. The person giving it to them doesn't know it. The scientist looking at the data doesn't know it.
Oh, okay.
The institution doesn't know it. Nobody knows, right?
So the person with the placebo died of COVID. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened is, so they basically say, okay, we're going to take 30,000 people. We're going to randomize. Half of y'all going to get the vaccine. Half of y'all going to get just a placebo with saline in it. And that's what the placebo is. It's saline.
Right.
And we'll see what happens. So then they follow all of those individuals for months and months and months and see how many people overall, how many people are getting infected and testing positive for SARS, and then how many people are actually getting the worsening, what we call COVID-19 or severe COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So when they did this review, and then they, at every step, they just go and just look at the data. They pull the data, look at the individuals after they're following them up. They don't know which arm they're in. They don't find that out until later. So what they saw was that there's X number of people that ended up getting SARS coronavirus 2. X number of people that ended up getting severe COVID. In the control arm, there were, a significant number of people that ended up getting the virus, and then about, I think it was something like 13 of them got severe COVID, and 1 person died.
Okay, so if you had COVID, what's the chances of you getting it again? Is it like chicken pox, you ain't supposed to get it no more? Or is it's too new and y'all don't know? Or is it
it's very new?
You exposed?
I'll tell you this. So the actual getting real reinfection with COVID, we don't quite know. They think the number is somewhere between maybe 20 and maybe 50 people total, right? We don't know. Some say the number may be as high as 200. Some say it's as low as...
But not many, right.
But we're talking about 20. Let's just say we're talking about 200. That's 200 out of 65 million. Right. So the chances of you actually getting it again, if you've gotten the virus, is on the order of 0.00002%.
How did you feel when you got the virus? Was it that bad? Or
it was awful.
I mean, because you're a young guy, you look like you're pretty much in shape, you're in good health. Was it that bad for you?
It was absolutely awful. It was absolutely awful. So for people that want to say they want to get this virus and they want to just get it the natural way, what we're seeing is that 40% will remain asymptomatic. Don't understand why, for whatever reason. 40% of people are going to remain asymptomatic. 60% of people that get it will have some type of symptoms. Of those 60% that have symptoms, 30 to 40% of them are going to have chronic symptoms. We're talking about pulmonary fibrosis. Is it true
that black people have worse symptoms and more black people are dying? Because that's in the data.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Black people are there. More people are getting it. More black people are getting it for a number of reasons. And when we get it, we do worse with it. And that's why we're on this call today, because I totally get everyone's concern. I get their frustration. We need more unbiased scientists. Again, I'm not getting no money for this. I'm not getting money from anybody.
You seem like a pretty honest guy. So if I believe somebody, I would believe you, but I still ain't taking it till it's proven after millions of people take it. But tell me this, you still didn't say what the side effects were to
okay. So the side effects that they've seen are typical side effects that you see from a vaccine. And that can also be side effects that you'll see from maybe like a slight cold. So they've seen local site inflammation and muscle aches at the point of injection, but then also a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of headache, a little bit of runny nose. Those are all, again, the body responding to something foreign. It sees something foreign, so it naturally starts to just mount an inflammatory response because that's what it's doing. It's basically building up all of your antibodies. So in some individuals, they get that small bit of that little side effect. They haven't seen anyone that has gotten this, that has gotten severe COVID, basically like ended up with the virus and gotten really sick from it. Nor have they seen anyone that with these at least with these two. I can't mention, don't want to talk about AstraZeneca or any of the other ones. But for Moderna and Pfizer, they have not seen anyone with what we would call like significant side effects, liver failure, kidney failure, basically the type of stuff that we're getting from actual infection with the virus. So what everyone is doing is right now is they're making a bet. If you say you're not going to get the vaccine, then you're saying, I'm going to take my chances of natural infection, because the longer I don't have this vaccine, the longer I go without the vaccine, the higher my chances are of getting naturally infected because it's everywhere. It's literally probably trying to float by your house right now. Like, y'all ain't going to let it in because y'all got your doors closed, but it's trying to float everywhere. It's everywhere now. That's where we are right now. So you're saying, I'm going to take the bet that my body's natural immune system and fighting it off is going to do better and be safer than this vaccine. And the data right now does not support that. Not with 1 in 63 people dying, right, that get the virus. The data just doesn't support that. Not with it's even higher if you're talking about the month's worth of comorbidities. It's even higher if you're talking about the fact that, again, our people are the ones dying at a higher tick than everybody else. So for me, I've been posting almost every day about this vaccine lately because this is the most important thing that we can do as people to try to save each other, is just have someone that looks like us, that knows and understands this, that is willing to just be honest. And again, if I looked at it and I saw that I'm still waiting to see all of the data. I'm still waiting to see all the data. If I see anything in the data that doesn't look good, that's what we need. We need people like me to just be like, nah, hold up, wait a second. Look over here on page 200. This is what this is what they saw here, right? So that's what people are doing. People are basically at the point where they're saying, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and gamble with my body's immune system and see how I do versus, getting the vaccine. And we're dealing with a theoretical risk of a possible future side effect versus real absolute deaths and long-term side effects that we're seeing from the virus.
Do you see a mandate for
No.
people to take the vaccine?
Healthcare workers.
I get, you said earlier, I think on one of your lives, you said the healthcare workers, I heard that on the radio too, healthcare workers would probably, to me, that doesn't make sense to give the healthcare workers that first, because if there is an adverse reaction to it, y'all need the healthcare workers here. It ain't enough of healthcare workers right now. So
agree, but if the healthcare workers get it and they go out from COVID, we're not gonna have no healthcare workers. So
you're saying that it's better, you got a lesser chance of dying from the vaccine than you do of actual COVID.
Nobody's died from the vaccine.
I mean, okay.
It's been 67,000.
How many black people took the placebo and the black vaccine? How many black people?
Not enough.
The data we need.
Not enough, because we won't even take the vaccine.
Damn Skippy. So your results and your numbers is off. They skewed because we ain't took it and we dying 4 times more. Like
You're right. You're right. So what do black people want? We won't volunteer to go to the trial. We won't take the vaccine. We just want to die.
I'm gonna wear my mask. That's what I've been telling people from the very beginning. Even when they said don't wear the mask. But talk about herd immunity. What does that mean to us? Like herd immunity. Like if enough people have taken the vaccine and they're
So first, people have to understand there has never been a situation of herd immunity without a vaccine. Herd immunity only exists in the presence of a vaccine. If you try to do herd immunity naturally, you're going to have what we had in 1918, which was 1/3 of the entire population getting the virus. And of those, 10% of them died. Those were the numbers from the Spanish flu. 500 million people got it, which was 1/3 of the population of the earth at that time. 500 million people got it. And of those 500 million, 50 million died. And I think it was something like 600 and something thousand of those were here. So those are the numbers. So that's the way natural immunity works. But there's never been a case where we've had herd immunity without the help of a vaccine. So herd immunity is basically where we would say at least 70% of the population has some form of protection against this virus. If you have that, then the virus has nowhere to live. The virus has nowhere to, it's trying to jump around. One of my favorite movies, it was a Denzel Washington movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a demon. And that demon would have to jump from host to host in order to survive.
What's the name of that movie, Laura? With Denzel, the demon that was in the, well, I can't think of it either, but go ahead.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So the virus is the same way. The only way the virus can live is if it jumps from host to host. So every year when we take the flu vaccine, again, flu vaccine only 30 to 60% effective.
That didn't matter. Falling,
exactly. So every year, the flu vaccine is only 30 to 60% effective. But the combination between that and people getting it means that flu doesn't have enough human reservoirs to jump around and eventually dies out. So that's what herd immunity is. It's a combination of natural infection and a vaccine that reduces the available reservoir of the virus to jump around and infect people.
So why do certain viruses, like say chicken pox, and I don't know too many people that had the chicken pox here lately, but usually you couldn't get it twice, right? But why every year people can get the flu over and over again?
Yeah, so it's probably going to be scary for some of y'all to hear. Chicken pox is a lytic virus. So what does that mean? Chicken pox invades inside of you, and it literally opens up a piece of your DNA, inserts itself, and then stays there. That is what a lytic virus does, okay? So a lytic virus is going to jump inside of your DNA, stay there, and you've got it forever. Anybody that's ever had chicken pox, you still have chicken pox living inside of you.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Me and you both off. Yeah. For the rest of the week. Yep. You know, yeah, man.
Is it back?
Yep, it's back.
All right, yeah, okay.
All right. So just like, and somebody mentioned that herpes too. Exactly. Both herpes and chickenpox, they're different viruses, so different backbones, different strains, etc. But they are a type of viruses we call lytic viruses. They get inside of your DNA, they cut it open, they insert themselves, and then they live there. And then they just decide at some point in the future they're going to come back. So when chickenpox comes back, that's what shingles is. Shingles is just chickenpox reactivated. And when it comes back in one what we call dermatome, like one line. So you end up with a line of blisters that's coming out. You don't get it all over the place. It comes back in the line. But that's all shingles is reactivated chickenpox. So when we give the shingles vaccine, which we're given to our elderly population, we're basically giving it to try to re-stimulate the body's antibodies towards the chickenpox virus in order to try to, so now you've got more of that antibody, one of those antibodies circulating to try to keep shingles from coming out. It doesn't prevent it, but it can definitely reduce it. So that's the difference between that. And I think you mentioned, did you mention like I'm sorry, I've been talking for so long. Was it you mentioned the flu vaccine also? So yeah, so the flu vaccine is different because the flu vaccine, it just mutates so much every year. That H and that N, they have recombinated with birds and swine and everything to the point that our bodies just don't recognize it.
Okay.
Yeah, it just doesn't recognize it. So every time it sees it, it's like, you knew, never seen you before. I got to go tell. And that's why we have, again, significant number of deaths every year from the flu, right? If this virus had been seasonal, it wouldn't be this bad. But this virus is so ridiculous, it don't give a shit about seasons. I'm sorry, excuse my language. We got kids looking probably. It don't care about seasons. It don't care about any of that. It's just going and going and going. We thought it was going to die out when the summer came. It didn't. It did not die out. It was still there. We didn't have a single case of flu during the summer. That's a seasonal virus that dies out every year. This thing is just there, and it's not going anywhere. So it's defying everything that we thought we knew about viruses. Again, from a nerd like me's perspective, it's fascinating to see, but it's also scary because what it causes is it causes evolution in real time. Evolution meaning some people are going to naturally be immune, some people are going to get a little sick, some people are going to die. That's what happens when any major pathogen hits human population. It's happened over eons, over millions of years, every single time, which is due for a new, what we call pandemic, that basically no one's body has ever seen. And then you have the natural selection, which is where survival of the fittest comes from, where some individuals are going to see it and they're going to be like, I can take care of that. Some individuals' bodies are going to see it and be like, I'm going to throw a whole bunch at it and I'm going to get sick. And some are basically going to see it and be like, I throw the red flag. I don't know what this is. I'm gone. That is the natural process of seeing a new pathogen.
Wow. So, okay, my question is, you saying the vaccine is going to be free. Is it really free, or are they building our insurance company like the COVID testing?
You know, I don't know.
Why is the stock going up if it's free? It can't be free. Who paying for it? The government for us? Is it Medicaid for all? Like the CARES Act for everybody to just get it?
So my understanding is the government's going to pay for this. They've already secured 100 million vaccines from Moderna, 100 million from Pfizer. That was like an initial down payment, right? X billions of dollars to each company as an initial down payment way back when, before they even knew whether it was going to work or not. Now, I'll be totally honest. They could have threw $3 billion at these companies, and these vaccines could have ended up being a wash. They could have been horrible. They could have been ineffective, and we would have just been no closer towards a cure towards a treatment. But that's not where we are right now. You throw the money in early, and you literally sit back and you pray that, God decides to, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and be easy on y'all. I'm going to let that work out. And that's what they did with these two. And it turns out that, again, we've got 95 and 94.5% effectiveness. Now, the key point about these trials that I need people to understand is the trials aren't over. Everybody that's worried about the side effects, I totally get it. The trial end date, if you look on the Moderna website in clinicaltrials.gov, you can go and look up the trial information. The trial end date is October of 2022. They're going to be monitoring everybody that gets this, that's gone through that trial, right? So they had 30,000 people through that trial. They're going to continue to monitor all 30,000 of those people for the next 2 years, so that they can accumulate all of the data that we're asking about. How many people got it? What were their side effects? Right now, we only got a few months worth of side effects, because that's nothing. We can't tell long term from that.
Right.
But in October 2022, that'll be the time that we'll be able to look back. We'll have accumulated 2 years worth of data, and we can say this is what happened. That would be, at that point, we'll be able to do a retrospective study and look at everything, and there'll be a lot more data that'll come out. But what they do, the reason we're getting this information right now, is what I talked about on my live when I said, you know what, they have these internal safety review boards that we don't see, but they're operating every single day, and they're looking at the data coming in. If they see anomalies, they stop it. That's what they did with AstraZeneca. That's what they did with one of the other trials. Somebody got transverse myelitis, stop it. Somebody got this, stop it. So they haven't seen anything like that with these two trials, with these two mRNA trials. So all we can go by right now is what we've seen from the trials for the last 5 months, based on from the stage 1, stage 2, and now stage 3. And they release that information and say, okay, pretty soon we're going to release it for what they call scientific review, where we're peer review. So all of the scientists will get together and go through and comb through the data. And then basically they'll bring up objections or say, hey, yes, this looks good, or we don't like this. That's what everybody's waiting for. Fauci's waiting for that. Sanjay Gupta's waiting for that. I told everybody I'm trying to be the Sanjay Gupta BET, so y'all holler at BET.
Yeah, and you're already on your way. So I got 2 more questions for you. But before I ask the 2 questions, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you this again. How can people follow you? Because you're doing these lives. I know I won't be a part of all of them, but you give me some great information. How can people follow you?
So I'm going to have all the videos that I've been doing. I'm going to put them on my YouTube page. And so it's very simple, Dr. D. That's what you see my tag as, what you see in my on my Instagram tag and in my title. And so that's going to be it. You can follow me on. What is it? It's very simple. DRD. Dr. D. Got it. Yeah.
And what's your Instagram?
Dr.Robert Drummond. So Dr.Robert Drummond. So that's my Instagram.
And I'll tag him, guys, too, because he got priceless information here. And so, okay, for the people who are going to wait to take the vaccine, right? Tell them, and I know we hear this all the time about the vitamins and stuff like that. What can they do to make themselves healthy so if they do get it, they can survive it?
All right. I'm going to say some things, and y'all not going to like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. First thing I'm going to say to everybody, today, start diet and exercise, okay? The single thing that has led to the worst outcomes for people that get COVID-19 is obesity. Obesity, morbid obesity, and then supermorbid obesity. With each one of those, there's increasing mortality, all right? There's not that many things that lead to direct outcomes, not even asthma. They looked at asthma, and asthma does not even have as bad of an effect as obesity. And then I talked about it in one of my other videos also, three reasons on why that is. I don't want to get into it now, but so that's one thing. But in terms of daily things that you can start doing, take a simple central multivitamin, okay? So a central multivitamin you can do. The same types of, we talk about how fruits and vegetables you can do, but in terms of real things that are going to boost your immune system naturally and safely, we're talking about zinc, things like turmeric. Those are natural anti-inflammatories that are going to help boost your immune system that you don't need prescriptions for. You're not going to take a lethal amount that could actually hurt you. I see some people saying, you know, take vitamin D, etc. Well, I don't want anyone jumping out and taking vitamin D without knowing your vitamin D levels. There's 4 types of vitamins that if you take too much, it can be harmful. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, because they store in your fat. So you don't just pee those out. If you take too much of those, they're going to store, and then you end up with hypervitaminosis A, hypervitaminosis D. So I don't want y'all going out and just taking a bunch of vitamin D. Don't do that. But you can take a simple central multivitamin, take some zinc, vitamin C. Somebody mentioned vitamin C. Absolutely. Vitamin C, again, it's a water-soluble vitamin, so you're going to pee that out. You're not going to get rid of it. I would say those 3 things: zinc, vitamin C, and turmeric. Those are natural things that we've seen. If you take too much, you're not going to hurt yourself, but they can only help you, help build a healthy immune system.
So eat right and exercise. Next question: when will the world be back right? When can I go to Jamaica? When can I go to Bahamas? When can I go to Europe again? When is the world gonna be back right? It's gonna be 2022, or is it gonna be when y'all get this virus out there? I mean, this vaccine now.
I'll be honest with you. I will say that depends entirely on how many minds I start to change, entirely on how many people.
You're saying they cannot make a public mandate for you to take this vaccine?
Nope, and I don't think they should. I don't think. You know, this is the way of things. This is not a communist state. That's what communist nations do. They do mandates, and you have to go by them or you die.
I mean, we mandatory. We have to wear our seatbelt, or we fine. You know what I mean? There's certain mandates out there. I think a mask is not a bad mandate. If it's saving people from getting it,
I don't think it's
other people.
I don't think it's bad at all. You're 100% right. We make people get a driver's license, or they can't drive. We make them wear their seatbelt, so we give them a ticket. We make them not speed. So making people wear masks.
You can't smoke marijuana, or you get in certain states you can't even smoke marijuana.
Not in Cali, but yes.
Okay, so wearing a mask does help.
The 3,
we do
but
I don't.
I don't want to stress just the mask, because with the mask comes the other 2 things: mask, socially distance, and washing hands. All 3. Right. All 3. A lot of people like to give the anti-maskers a lot of crap, and what I tell people is that it's not just the fact that they're not wearing masks. Typically, the anti-maskers tend to be anti-pandemicers, which means they don't believe in any of it, and so they do all the things wrong. They don't socially distance. They hang out with other people that don't socially distance. They don't wear masks, so that just increases the probability that they're going to get the virus. So I want everybody to do all 3 of those. And I personally said it. I don't think we have to stop living. I don't think that we need to 100% shut society down, but we need to follow the data. And if the data tells us that certain activities are associated with a higher probability of getting the virus, then we should probably figure out what we can do about those. But we don't have to shut every single thing down. I just don't think that we do. And I think there's enough cases of that where going to a scaled back approach as opposed to shutting everything down and destroying the economy, I think is if it's possible, then I think that's what we should do.
Okay. Well, we've been on here, 42 minutes, and I know we can't stay on all night. We probably could talk about this all night.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you felt pertinent to get out? Because we got how the virus runs, the importance of taking the vaccine, and I'm still iffy on it, but if y'all give 100 million vaccines out, I'd be in the second calling after that first 100 million. I come after that. You know what I'm saying? If the first 100 million, and y'all give about 2 years.
So, I'll say this. I posted one of these individuals on my post. If y'all go to my story today, you're gonna see a story of a family that just kind of got through COVID. It's the people that have the serious side effects that really become like the ones begging and pleading folks, because honestly, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. I don't want, if y'all can go to my stories, I posted one night. I posted 5 minutes of one night of what I went through when I was sick. I know people that got the virus in there, and for them, they just like, look, I didn't get that sick. It wasn't that big of a deal. So I don't see what the big deal is. It's just the fact that this thing is unpredictable. And even if you're not the one to get sick, you could infect somebody else that you love that can get sick. And so what I say to everyone is, I understand the trepidation. The good thing about most people is that there are actually going to be a lot of millions of people that get the vaccine before the general public is even going to be able to get it. Right. I don't think that the vast majority of people watching this right now won't even be able to get it within the next couple of months. it's going to go to the doctors, nurses, and frontline healthcare workers first. Then it's going to go to the individuals in nursing homes, elderly, the sicker patients. And so it's going to be months. It's going to be next year sometime before anybody that's not a frontline healthcare worker is going to be able to even get it.
But
so that's going to give y'all.
Don't have to get it, because I know I ain't get it, and I'm right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to get it.
So you don't have to get it. You definitely don't have to get it. But what I'm saying is, what that'll give everyone is even another couple of months to see how those of us do who do get the vaccine, and that'll give us some more time so you can see us and say, all right, Dr. Drummond didn't turn into a mutant. So you know what I'm saying? Maybe that gives me a little bit more confidence. And if we start to see millions of people, and it comes out that millions of people are not having side effects, then I think maybe that'll at least start to make some individuals more and more comfortable.
Well, I want to thank you, doctor. I think the numbers are alarming. You're saying 1 out of every 65 people who get it die, right?
Well, what we're seeing is that I can only report the numbers. The numbers are 65 million people got the virus, 1.5 million died. So that's an alarming number.
1 out of 65, right?
Yeah.
At that number, probably 4 times that were Black people.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So it is a need for the vaccine. However, I can't be mad at somebody who takes their time to get it. Let the healthcare, because y'all understand the system. You're an epidemiologist or whatever you're talking. Let you get it and you understand the process till we can digest it. And then we'll see how y'all do.
And listen, I'll be a guinea pig for y'all. I'm out here. I got COVID for y'all. I'm out here every day testing people, trying to get people better. That's what we took on as being doctors. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting the vaccine and showing it. Even if it helps convince 1 person or 2 people or 10 people, I'm okay with that. I totally understand everyone's trepidation. I'm not here to shame anybody. I'm not here to call anybody names for not wanting to get it. I totally get it. Let those of us that you trust continue to talk to you all and give you information. Hopefully I've done enough from the beginning of this pandemic to now that I've earned your trust, and you see that I'm not part of no government organization that's trying to convince you of anything.
Right.
So that's the best I can say.
Thank you so much. Can you tell us again, how can we get to your YouTube channel? Because you're going to continue to do this, right?
Absolutely. So, yeah, my wife's going to probably make me run that and start that up tonight. So it's going to be Dr. D, but it'll probably be the same thing as my Instagram handle. It's dr.robertdrummond. It's kind of the same thing on Facebook. Those are going to be the 3 places that I really kind of focus my message. It's going to be Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube.
Okay, so I'm going to save this video, guys. I hope it was great information for you. I don't think it was a waste of time. I actually learned a lot. I am going to consider getting the vaccine seriously, because I'm right there. I'm right in the mouth, so it would benefit me to get it. But yeah, I think you answered all my questions, and I appreciate you, sir. You're very knowledgeable on it. And it is scary. A lot of people are telling you not to be worried about it, but it is scary. 1 out of 65, and probably 4 times that. That's a big number. That's a big number. So guys, do your research. I always say use your common sense, but then again, wear your mask, make sure you social distance, take care of yourselves, guys. That's what I tell you. And y'all stay healthy and stay safe, okay? And I'm gonna save this live right here so y'all can look at it later. Lauren, can you come save this, baby, so I don't mess it up? Come save this live for me, baby, before we get off here.
Thank you so much,
Anything you want to say
for giving me this platform. No, I just want to say thank you for giving me this platform. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to do this. Hello, Laura. How are you doing? Everybody said that you look like my wife, so, you know, we all family. It's all good.
See that?
All right. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right, stop it and make sure you save it.
Okay.